Mr. Grothman.
Well, thank you very much. I've been waiting for
Gentleman's
this day for
recognized.
quite a while. Whenever I go back to my district, I talk to my staff back there, and again, we hear stories. They want something done with the VA. They want something done with the IRS. It can't get done. They're behind. I'll tell you, a lot of mentioned today that it's time for people to get back to work. When I think of my district, I think the vast majority of people, their work schedule never changed, even the teeth of the epidemic. You know, obviously, Wisconsin had a lot of cheese factories in my district. Man, I'd go home every night, and there'd be people there at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning. All of a sudden, we hear how horrible it is for federal employees to have to go in. I'll tell you, the current situation, what it tells you is, and this is true of many other programs as well, the government works for the benefit of the government, not the benefit of the people. And that's why people on that side of the aisle are trying so hard, so desperately hard today, not to have people come in. I talked to a lot of employers all over my district. You know, there were times where they let a given number of their employees work from home, but they know it's not the same thing. And why in the world the government should be operating on a separate schedule, I don't know. I'll give you an example. The National Personal Records Center is an egregious example. The NPRC is a large warehouse containing paper records of military members from before World War I to the 90s. Veterans need access to these records in order to receive VA health care, disability pay, and home loans. Despite these records existing in paper form only, the NPRC still decided to have its employees work remotely. A perfect example of the employees' interest put ahead of the public's interest, and this time the public is veterans. You can't copy paper records from a warehouse if no one is there to pull the records to make copies to satisfy the request. These employees were paid, but since they were not at the NPRC and they were unable to fulfill their duties, and veterans were forced to wait to receive their benefits. The Show Up Act will require these federal agencies to return to pre-COVID levels of
Gentleman's
telework.
time
Yield
is
the
expired.
gentleman an extra 30 seconds.
So that we can put the public first. And by the way, I don't bring this up back home. We're talking about it today. But I think it's such an insult to all the people back home, many of which, whole factories they never took any time off, to be told that they got to wait for the federal government because their people are, I mean, my goodness, still at home almost 3 years after this thing? Do you know any private businesses that are still having their people stay at home? Well, thank you very much for my friend from Kentucky.